I'm Alli. I came out after 20 years of marriage and I have 3 kids.
I'm Melisa, and I have 2 kids, and I came out at 37 after an 11-year marriage.
This podcast is about coming out later and the struggles and victories that come with it.
When coming out feels like the end of the world, but it's really just the beginning.
This is the Lesbian Chronicles. Hey, welcome to the Lesbian Chronicles.
Live from New York.
Live from live from Rhode Island.
Live from Rhode Island. Womp womp.
I was in New York for one night, and then I'm in Rhode Island, Providence last night, and then back to New York tonight. I took the Amtrak. It's so fucking cool.
I've never done that before.
Yeah,
it looks cool.
I mean, the stations are right there. So now that my kids are both up here for college, or will be next semester, that you can basically fly into New York City, see Tatum, jump on the train, which is like magical. You feel like you're in a movie on your laptop or like reading a book, looking out the window. It's brilliant. And then you pull right into Providence.
Wow.
And the school is right here.
Is it? I'm assuming that the train is nice, kind of like the ones like in Europe. Like
they're very nice.
Yeah,
like
that's
big
cool.
Table.
It's not MARTA.
Like, it's not MARTA. This is like you're sitting in like a booth with your laptop, plugs. There's a meal, like a restaurant car.
That's cool.
It's really, really nice. And I did get a little bit nauseous at the end, but I think it might have been just too much, like with my glasses on, writing backwards.
I swear to God, everything makes me nauseous now.
I know,
like, is this like an aging thing?
I don't know. I think the same thing I said to the kids all day yesterday. I'm like, I'm a little bit lightheaded, nauseous.
Yeah, like flights make me nauseous now. Last year when I went to Legoland, I was like, I can't do this. Like,
and it kind of wrecks the day. Like the rest of the day, I felt a little
I'm going to
off.
get ginger ale and saltines.
I know, exactly. I was thinking I needed like carbs. Like I kept feeling like I just need to like fill my stomach.
Is that it? Am I not eating properly to go on roller coasters?
If somebody hears this, tell us what to do, because somebody once I mentioned my toe cramps and they recommended magnesium, and I haven't like it's almost fixed the problem.
Yeah.
So if anyone has any recommendations,
I will say yes. If you're over 40 and not taking magnesium, do that, because it is
it's game changing.
It's a great little tool in the toolbox.
Oh Lord. Well, tell me your funny story.
Yeah, so we had that whole long episode last week about our kids and how they feel about us being gay and worrying about them being bullied because of it. Well, for one, Kaylin told me, she's like, Mom, kids don't really talk about like our parents that much.
Oh yeah. Oh God.
It's like
you're so self-centered.
It's like not. I'm like, God damn it! I'm the center of your universe.
Exactly.
Because my mom did today.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. So she knocked me down a few pegs.
Yeah.
And
she's
then
like, really haven't thought about you at all.
Right. Exactly. It's like that meme where it's like, I feel bad for you. It's with Don Draper from Mad Men, and this like competition of his is saying, I feel bad for you, and Don Draper says, I don't think about you at all. Damn.
Oh
damn,
God,
Kaylin.
That's harsh. Yeah.
It is harsh. Number 2 that happened. So my relationship that I was in is, we've called it, it's time of death,
Okay.
Which is a massive bummer. And I've had a lot to like kind of try to explain to my kids. And I was kicking off that conversation and saying, we're no longer in a relationship. And First of all, Brecken goes, wait, you were in a relationship with her?
That's the best.
Like, fucking what? Are you blind?
Where have you been, dude?
And I'm like thinking back on this, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure you're the one that when you saw us kiss for the first time, you asked if that was your new stepmom.
Yeah, he doesn't.
He was like, I forgot. And also let me include that Brecken's a very smart kid.
Of course.
But he somehow forgot. But also, I mean, we haven't been spending a lot of time together, so maybe that's why he forgot, but it was hilarious. The other thing that he forgot was that I'm gay.
Oh God. I mean, that shows how little of importance it is to these kids.
He's got like the memory of a goldfish. And he's like, wait, what? You're gay? He's like, what does that mean again?
This is why they say you have to keep coming out over
I
and
know,
over
I
and
know. And
over.
Kaylin's literally like, Brecken, like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
She's like, we went to Pride. Why do you think we went to Pride?
Oh my
And he's
God.
like, I forgot. I don't know.
Allies.
And she's like, do you know what a lesbian is? And he's like,
I
which one is
forgot.
that?
Oh
So
man.
here I am stressing over whether or not my kids are upset or bullied, whatnot. And yeah, I don't have
They
shit to
have
worry about
no
because they're gonna
idea.
forget.
They have no idea what you've been even up to.
Right.
Oh my God.
And maybe that's just it. It hasn't been like because my relationship's been ending, we haven't been spending any time together really. She's seen my kids like once in the past 4 or 5 months. So maybe that's part of it, out of sight, out of mind,
Yeah.
like
For
mom's
kids,
not,
that's true.
but yeah, I think I'm worrying way
You're for
too much about
nothing.
something
I
I don't need
know.
to worry
Don
about.
Draper, I don't think about you at all.
I don't think
I
about you
don't
at
think
all.
I don't think about you one time. Well, I guess, I mean, I of course know how you're feeling because I've been talking to you every day about this situation, but any insights? Like would you say if originally maybe a week ago you were a 2 out of 10, where are you now?
I say I'm doing better. Like today, it comes and hits me in waves sometimes,
Yeah,
just like any kind of
I feel
grief.
that. Yeah,
I think it really sucks when you have to grieve someone who's very much still alive,
right.
and that you really thought that you were gonna like spend your life with. Like
Yeah, of
that's what I
course.
thought was happening.
Yeah.
Um,
You need to
and
grieve the life you thought you were going to
right.
have.
I've been, doing what I do, listening to podcasts and stuff. There's this guy named Matthew Hussey, who I swear to God, he's like I guess he's a therapist, but he has been on every podcast that I have listened to in the past like week. It is like he is stalking me.
Okay. The algorithms work,
The
man.
algorithm is after me with Matthew
Yeah.
Hussey, and he's great. He's amazing. He has a lot of really wonderful things to say. So that's been nice. But one thing he said recently was more so in relation to people in like their late 30s, women and men, kind of coming to terms with the fact that they aren't going to have children, or like that the way that they're going to have children is not going to be what they thought, where they meet
Right.
someone or whatever. They might have to
Fall in
do,
love, have the
they might have to go
baby.
on their own and do it. They might
Right.
have to adopt. And he was like, that was your plan A. He's like, fall in love with your plan B.
Yes.
And like, that's just
Yeah.
it. I'm like, okay, what's my plan B now?
Right. You're not going to Australia. Now you're going to London, and London's fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
We also sit in this scarcity mindset, right? That's kind of what's kept me, one of the reasons why I've stayed, is because I
Yeah.
felt like who else is out there that's going to fulfill all these things? And to have the perspective like you're Harvard and you've got all these applications coming in,
Yep.
you don't have to worry about there being scarcity.
Yeah, it's
Like
true.
you're Harvard
Yeah.
waiting, you're a good person, you've got wonderful qualities about you, you've got applications stacking up.
It's
So
true.
like
Right.
let go of the scarcity mentality that keeps us stuck and putting up with things that we don't need to put up with.
Right. And it's not to say that the partner's not great or it's just not the right person maybe for you.
Right.
So it's
Exactly.
like, I think that's really, really a good thing to learn in everything we do, whether it's the job, whether it's and
Exactly.
removing yourself. I read something recently that was like, whatever you put your self-worth in, the universe will take away. So
Mm,
it's like when you start to just, your whole self-worth is wrapped up in the relationship or the job or the thing. It's like life will deal you a wake-up call. Like you have to find it in you. And like you've always said, no one's going to fill every need. It's
yeah.
kind of like you have to have these different pockets of people that support you and help fill the buckets. You have children that do a huge part of it. You have friendships that do a huge part of it. So a
Yeah.
partner doesn't have to look now the way it looked when you were 30. It can look totally
Exactly. And I guess
different.
that's just it. That's like shifting from the plan A of having that heteronormative relationship
Right.
where everything's perfect and we have a white picket fence outside, to the plan B of finding someone who's like, also got their own shit that they're dealing with, their own life, and but doesn't need me to fulfill, and I don't need them to fulfill every ounce of me.
Yeah.
Like, because
It's
I've
kind of
got all
our
these other
guest,
things.
right? And our guest that was on a couple weeks ago that talked about how like there is something kind of magical about a partner that you see on the weekends and you have a companion and but your life is already so full. So
Hmm.
it's like you're not giving all that up the way you would in a hetero marriage with young kids. We gave up everything. I mean, all our friends were the same, all our baby, our kids played with these kids, we hung out with those parents. Like our life was very family centered, and it still is, but it's like a partner that comes in doesn't have to fit into that mold anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really want to emphasize that scarcity mindset because I feel like that's what we do with so many things, like staying in a
Everything.
job that isn't right for you.
Yep. What if I don't get another
What
one?
if I don't get another job?
Yeah,
Like this job does this for me. And what if I don't find that, you know?
yeah.
And I think when it just keeps you stuck.
For sure it does. And there's going to be, like you said, lots of applications, and there's going to be lots of learning, and there's going to be lots of realizing, what do I want it to look like? And it doesn't mean that you have to, go out with every single person that comes across your path. It just means that you're going to have to search and see what feels good.
And that's just it too. Like I want to be a lot more mindful about like who I spend my time with
Yeah, it's your
and
most precious
who
commodity.
I'm not gonna, I feel like so much more like taking away that scarcity mindset and thinking about dating again, it's like I don't feel a rush,
Yes, that's
I
it.
want to like just take my time and like get to
Right,
know people and like really get to know someone.
right.
Because even when you know someone for it's that rush of emotions, of those feelings that you have in those first few weeks, you feel like you know them, oh, this person's
Yeah.
great. And then next thing you know, you don't know them.
No, and it's again, not to say they're a bad person. It's just to say that it's not for the first two
It's
years, there's so much of that new relationship energy that you can't get mixed up. It's like when they stage a house you go to look at. It's like it looks really, really
well,
good. You've got to be smart about it. And is
and
this
you're
person
both presenting
compatible?
that. And like
Yes,
that's just it. You're both selling yourself to
totally,
this person, to each other.
totally. Yep.
And so, yeah, like it's both parties not putting out who they really are deep down.
That's exactly right. And so I
So,
think it's, yeah, and get excited about that potential that's out there. And what could it be? Who's compatible with me, really?
yeah.
Like my life is not simple to just eke into. It's like there are a
Hmm.
lot of factors involved. I have a lot of players in my squad. Like it's not simple.
Right. And like I know we've said this in other episodes. It's like I think we're re-entering the dating world, a lot of us, after coming out later, expecting that 20-year-old mindset of like, oh, I'm going to meet someone and we're going to fall in love. We're going to buy a house together and then we're going to like have kids and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, like you both are coming into it with kids and with baggage and
Yeah, with families.
with families,
Yeah,
with jobs that
right.
are very important to you and all these other things. It's like so multi-layered. It's also not going to be as easy as it was.
No, no, it isn't. Trust me.
So,
Very true. Well, we thought about today maybe reflecting on some of these, like, I don't know what you even will call these, like quotes that are kind of about moving on and I don't know, like just life things. And I kind of thought maybe we could read them and then each give us perspective.
yeah.
Does that sound good? Okay.
Yeah.
So, sometimes the universe brings people into our lives to demonstrate where we've had the propensity to outsource our power. It's like oftentimes we bring people into our world that we start to give up some of our identity for. It's like you get lost in it. And then
Yeah.
it's like it's not that you have to have power, but it's like my power, I don't want to give up what I want. I don't want to
Hmm.
start sacrificing. Oh, I guess that's okay that they do this. I guess no one's perfect. This is blah, blah, blah. Like making excuse after excuse, giving up my power in relationship to someone else.
Yeah.
Um,
And yeah, that's so true. I think so often, like we do start to, because we're trying to help our other person through something or whatever, like
right.
we're giving up our power. But I also feel like for me, I'm like, I don't need to have power over anyone. Like
No,
this is a partnership, So, I don't know. It's one of those things like when you really start to heal so much, you start to like almost dissect every little thing in your relationship
Yeah,
and be like, well, this is what I need to do. I just need to be patient and,
right,
but then, yeah, it can feel like giving up your power.
right. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that's true in so many things in life. It's like you start to just, you wake up 3 years later and you're like, who am I anymore? Like
Hmm.
I came into this with a mission and now I'm this completely different thing,
Yeah.
not doing what was important to me or, and you don't need a partner for those things. Like many people live their life with dating and with, you don't have to have a partner to be happy, I guess is my
Well,
point. So the
that too,
mission, yeah,
man. If your condition of happiness is having a partner, like you need to reevaluate,
right.
like,
Like I think
because
getting
literally anything could happen. Like that partner could leave you on a dime. That something terrible could happen to them. Like you need to be able to stand on your own 2 feet.
I think that's really, really important. Another one is what's meant for you will always feel natural, calm, and clear, not forced, chaotic, or confusing. And
Yeah.
it's not to say you're not going to have differences with people, but it is to say, and my mom used to say it all the time, like if it's meant to be, it'll organically work out. And when you're forcing it and like, waiting around and I don't know what they're thinking and all the great chaos, I can almost promise you, like we've seen so many relationships at this point, not just our own, but other people's that have emailed us or people that have come on the show. Like that's not the healthy way. I mean, it's like when you're on the right path, the universe, what is it? The universe rises to meet you. I forget what the quote is, but in The Alchemist. And it's so true. It's like when you're on the right path, things do tend to fall into place in a natural, loving way. And it's not forced and it's not chaos and it's not me wondering, did I do something wrong or are they mad at me or I have anxiety right now. Oh, they just texted me. What's the text going to say? Oh, shit.
Hmm.
What have I
Yeah.
done? Like, I don't like feeling that way. I'm sure no
Yeah.
one does,
Right.
but it's like, that's not healthy.
And if that's like a consistent feeling in your life, then yeah, something needs to be adjusted
Right. And I
because
think sometimes you don't know until you remove it. And then you're like,
yeah,
wow, okay.
right. I mean, it's kind of like I was just sharing the story of telling my parents that I was gay and not realizing how heavy that was to carry,
Right.
And once I released it, oh God, it was like, damn, that was really weighing me down.
Yes. I felt the same way.
So it's sometimes you don't even know what it is.
Yeah, you don't because you've been living in it so long, it becomes your norm. It becomes your
Yeah,
normal person to go to bed with a little anxiety, wake up with a little anxiety. Like I think and it's not to say that somebody's causing that. It's just to say that the relationship maybe is not
it's
something
not
needs to be
jiving.
fixed. It's not jiving and it doesn't, you can't have that scarcity mindset where you're scared. Like you're getting this rewrite. Why would you now all of a sudden settle for something that doesn't feel healthy and amazing? Again,
Yeah.
you're going to have arguments, but at the end of the day, you should know that that person's rooting for you.
Hmm.
And I think
Absolutely.
you know the difference. If you're quiet, you know the difference.
Yeah. I think a big thing too that I've kind of realized that or a perspective, I guess I should say, for some people to take when we're getting messages about like, oh, my relationship sucks. Like, this is the first relationship I'm in with a woman. I don't know what to do. And like to zoom out and say, what if a man treated me this way?
Ah, it's so true, right?
Like, would I
Like,
put
why
up
do we
with
put up
this?
with this?
Like,
No,
no, I wouldn't.
no
And I
way.
also don't think I'd feel that scarcity thing if I was dating men.
No. And
So
how
why
about
are you
two?
putting up with it from a woman?
And how about the litmus test that I do all the time? Is it good enough for my child? Is
Hmm.
this good enough for my daughter?
Yeah.
Is it good enough for my son? And if the answer is no, then what are you doing?
Hmm. Is
And
this the
so
example I want to set for my
it's the
kids?
litmus test. It's the ultimate litmus test because you care more about those people than you likely do about yourself many times. And so I think if you place that burden of proof or burden on the question, the answer might surprise you.
Yeah. Like,
And so, and again, they're not bad people. They just may
not
not be the
bad people,
person for
not just
you.
matching up with you. That's just
Right.
it. Like, they've got their own shit.
Right.
Does our shit match? No.
No. So exactly. Exactly. Okay, the other thing that we talk about this all the time, but I think everybody's kind of waiting around. Like when you come out later, you're waiting around for this person to show up. Like you said, you're going to have this heteronormative situation. Somebody's going to show up. You're going to be in a relationship. The families are going to mesh. It's all going to be great. But this says if anyone is magically going to appear and suddenly make your life better, just know that that person's always going to be you. And that is so true. It's like when you get the tools and you get your own mind in a really healthy space, it kind of like that other person is just a bonus. It's just like
Hmm.
extra. It's not the thing I need.
Right.
It's you're your hero. You're the person coming.
That reminds me of the Mel Robbins thing. I don't know if she's the original one that said this, but that's where I heard it first. But no one is coming to save you.
Yeah,
And
right.
that's such a brutal thing to
I know.
hear, but
Right.
it's so true. Like you can't sit around waiting for someone to save you.
Or waiting for the person that you're with to be what you need.
Right. Yeah.
It's like that's not you are what you need. And when you get
Hmm.
do the work, do the tools, read the books, go to the therapy. I mean, it's like you do come out in a way that's like I'm kind of all right on my like I'm fine. I feel really good. So if I meet someone, brilliant. If I don't, that's cool too.
Yeah. And I will say too, right now going through this breakup and like knowing that it's done,
Yeah.
I would have lost my shit a few years ago.
Yes, God, it's like
And
you're so much
to
healthier
look
now.
at how I'm handling it now, and like I wouldn't be able to handle it this well if I didn't have all these tools, if I hadn't like really packed my tool belt full of
Yeah,
knowledge
it's so true.
and been able to just kind of be like, okay, this sucks.
Yeah,
This is the way it is right now,
right. I'm gonna sit in this for a minute.
and I'm going to move on. And
Yeah.
like I don't know what the lesson is right now, but that's okay.
Yep.
Like,
Maybe the lesson was just what it is, which is you're so much healthier now. Like
yeah.
you're at a different, you feel better now. You're a different person than you were 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 6 months ago.
Yeah. I'm
And
not like freaking out. I'm
no, you're
not
not. You seem super
so
chill.
scared. I am not running off to like find someone new to fill this void.
Yeah, to
Like,
validate me. Like I need
yeah.
you to like me or I'm not good enough. You're not even looking.
Hmm.
So I think there's
Yeah.
something really cool about that. It's interesting to get your perspective on these comments. You're going through it right now. You're like
Melissa's
in
raw and
it.
emotional. Let's
Melissa's really raw. Let's see what she thinks of this. Um, some doors open when certain people vacate your life because they were never meant to walk through them with you. Okay. So some doors open when certain people vacate your life because they were never meant to walk through them with you.
And this is interesting too, because I had just let go of a relationship right before I got in my last relationship, like fully let it go.
Yeah.
And then this new person walked in the door.
Yep. Yep. And you couldn't have walked
And
through that door without the other person vacating.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I
So
think,
as much as it sucks to like let go of someone sometimes, it's like just wait.
yes.
Like you'll know
And
why.
I think there's a lot of people out there too that hold on to things because they can't stand the vacate. They can't stand the void. So they hold on. And then while they're holding on, they're sort of lifeboating or looking for other people while they're where they are. Like, not necessarily that they're going to cheat or going to do something wrong, but it's more like I can't stand the void. So I'm going to kind of open my eyes to other possibilities out there before I shut this down. And I think that also is like super lame and
It
unhealthy.
is.
It's
It's
like
very
just, it's
unhealthy.
very unhealthy. And if you
Like
know you're doing
if
that,
you are not okay with spending a Saturday alone,
yeah,
like you need to work on
really
that.
do some work.
Like
Yeah,
if if you can't just entertain yourself that day, and but that doesn't mean like day drinking all day and
no,
falling asleep watching TV. I'm talking like go for a walk,
yep,
get some stuff done around your house, make a good lunch, like
yes,
those kind of things. Catch up on errands, like, and just be okay to just come home and chill and
totally,
make dinner and alone and just be in your own company.
yes.
Like that's
Work on that.
huge. Work
Work
on
on
that.
that.
And that's another thing. Like so many people feel like in order to heal, we have to do this like really big gesture. Like
Yeah.
I've got to go and do a yoga and surf retreat in Costa Rica, and then I'll feel better.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's easy.
Yeah.
You just got to throw money at it and go on the trip.
Yeah.
What's hard is sitting alone in your own shit at your house.
It's so true.
Like
Yep. In your space.
in your space where there are
Yep.
distractions,
Totally.
like and getting okay on your own.
Yep.
Like it's cool to go and do all those retreats, but that's not hard.
No, you're absolutely right. I think that's so true. And it's like just sitting in it and be your own company.
Yeah.
There's something really cool about that.
It's free.
Yeah, and it's free. I do like that. Okay, here's another one. Do not chase another human being. Instead, chase your curiosity, chase your development, chase your goals, chase your passion, strive to work for something bigger. And instead of trying to convince someone that you fit within their world, build something on your own.
I like
And
that.
yeah, it's like kind of like what my mother always says, which is if it organically happens, then it's meant to be. Don't jump through 1,000 hoops to make something work out. It's likely not the right thing. Like in the
Yeah.
end, like I'm not saying don't try hard. I try hard at lots of things, but it's
Right.
like when it's right, things doors open, green lights, like Matthew McConaughey, the book. I mean, it's like green lights. You see
Hmm.
that happen. I see it all the time in my life. What's natural, what feels good. And I think,
There is one of those like mantra things. It's like I do not chase, I attract.
yeah,
Like
it's real.
that's it is. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, if you're, and I like chase your curiosity. My favorite people are people that are super curious, curious about everything, curious about, and I think like that's interesting. Like when you're sitting in a group of people, be curious. Like there's things now that are like really cool to me that I never knew 5 years ago that I find interesting in people. So it's like I think that's really awesome too, to take the time to kind of unlayer that. What do I enjoy about people? There's things I enjoy about you, Melissa, that I didn't even know I enjoyed but I was super curious about you. I'm curious about your past. I'm curious about your children. And you develop a real relationship with someone. I'm rooting for
Right.
you. I'm genuinely rooting for your success. So it's like, I think when you surround yourself with those people and get super curious about those people and then allow them, give them your time. Again, my most precious commodity is my time. And so if I'm giving that to you, you better fucking be worth it.
Right.
Like, what are
Yeah.
you,
Like
what are you adding to this equation?
focus on cultivating those
Yes.
friendships.
Yep.
Like I know a lot of people, but there
Yes.
are very few people where we really know each other,
Right.
you know? And those are friendships that I've cultivated and worked on and,
Right. Got curious.
yeah, exactly. So, we talk a lot about building community, but it's not just necessarily about just, going off and making surface level friends. Like
Yep.
pick a few of those surface level friends and dive deeper. Put
Dive
your time in
deeper.
that versus
Yep.
your time into a dating app.
It's so true. I can't stress it enough. And the other day I was talking, actually it was in my Lyft on the way to the airport. I was telling the Lyft driver that I was going on this girls trip and that I haven't left yet, but I'm going on this girls trip and I was telling her how I met these friends and they're like friends and she's like, "Wow, that is like really unbelievable that you've got these like really good friends." And she was like thinking these were had been my friends like my whole life. And I told her, I'm like, "No, these are actually women that I met post children. Like
Hmm.
they are who I like really developed a deep connection with. And they're who I want to spend time with. People like you that are like, I really have a connection to. It doesn't mean like longevity to me is cool, but that's not really, you can make really great friends and cultivate really cool community later in your life. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be someone you met in college or my high school friend. Those people are great. But I would say
Yeah.
my best friends are not those people.
Hmm.
And so I
Yeah,
think that there's hope. In the way that like you can always develop new people
for sure.
and add to your toolbox. This is something that we have already said today, but I'll read it. Let it go, then see what kind of magic returns in its place. Because I promise that what's for you will never reach you while you're clinging to something else.
Mm.
you and I have talked about this ad nauseum. It's like when you're giving bandwidth to this other thing that's taking up so much mental space, emotional space, you're clinging to that. The door can't open for what's waiting for you on the other side, the magic that's there.
Yeah.
There's no room.
And that's really interesting too to think about. I did a tarot card reading a couple months ago,
Yeah, tell me.
and the tarot card reader, one of the cards I got, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I got one that was really bad. I think it's like the Tower or something, like
Oh, God.
whatever the worst one is.
Okay.
And I know that it used to be interpreted maybe that it was death, but it doesn't always mean like a death. It means like something in your life is changing. But she was like, you're clinging to something that's collapsing around you. And I was like,
Wow.
holy shit.
Yeah, damn. Did she
And I
read
gave this
my-
woman no guidance whatsoever as to like
Yeah.
what I wanted out of this. Cause they'll ask
Right.
you that, like, what are you looking for? Like, you can say if you want like something with like your job or with your relationship or maybe with your family, or you can just say, I don't want to say anything at all. And that's what I chose. And then that's what she presented me. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting question too. Like, I'm curious about how, like, if everyone did the exercise where you ask yourself, what am I clinging to? What am I clinging to? What am I clinging to right now? I have things that give me anxiety that I hold so tightly because I'm scared.
Yeah.
I think that's, if everybody kind of gets quiet and thinks about that, I think that would be a really interesting exercise.
Yeah. What am I clinging to?
What am I clinging to? Is it my parents' approval? Is it, my children's success? Is it my relationship? Is it my job? Like, what is it that you're clinging to right now?
That's trying to leave.
And that may be
Or
trying
that
to
isn't
leave.
a fit anymore.
Yeah. And I think too, like asking yourself, what is trying to leave me that I'm not letting? What is it? Well, I have run out of time because I have to go with the kiddos to go look at my son's college. We're here visiting and we're just like running all over campus and taking pictures. I'm getting so excited for him.
That is really exciting.
Yeah.
I think it's cool too, just to see, he's invested so much time and effort into getting there and like being able to see it like come together finally.
Yep. And I will say the encampment like are on his campus. They're set up, but they're very peaceful here. Like they're not acting, there's no craziness. It's all just pretty peaceful. But it fascinated me that it's in New York City when I was there and it's here. But anyway, we took a ton of pictures and I think I feel how excited he is and it's making me really excited for him. As much as I'm so sad, it's like, how can you be sad when he gets this awesome thing?
Yeah.
So anyway, and his siblings are here too. And it's just like, we went to the bookstore. We all wore our gear. We're way in.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to finish out this with them and then I guess we will chat later, but I want to stress to everyone, please go to our website, lesbianchroniclespodcast.com, write, comment, maybe let's start a string on what are you scared of letting go? What are you clinging to?
Yeah. Yeah. What's your tower card?
Yeah. Yes. What's your tower card? I love that.
Yeah.
All right, my friends.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Bye.
Want to support the Lesbian Chronicles podcast? Rate us and write a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify.
We love listener feedback. If you'd like to share your story, email us at melissaandalli@gmail.com. That's Melissa, MELISA, and Alli, ALLI, @gmail.com. Or follow us on Instagram at Lesbian Chronicles.